you stuck in the closet, too afraid to come out because it's a crazy world out there full of vegan-phobic people ready to pounce on you at every moment? Yeah, but you know what? It's time you came out. Come out of the closet, or maybe I should call it the pantry, the fridge, the freezer, the shopping cart. I don't know. Anyway, let's figure out why you are the way that you are, all right? And don't worry, you'll feel better afterwards.
All LGBTQ should strive to be vegan because your pets should understand that human abuse and animal abuse, well, both of these are wrong. So let's share this song and stop eating animals from now on. Yeah, let's share this song and be vegan from now on.
Why vegans won't tell you they're vegan? Let's listen to Emily.
You may have heard some variation of the joke, how do you know someone's vegan? Don't worry, they'll tell you. Ironically, this joke captures one of the reasons many, if not most, vegans actually won't tell you they're vegan. In this video, we're not only going to look into some of the reasons vegans hide their veganism, but also how this self-silencing and its causes harms all of us, vegan or not. But the solution may not be what you expect. Essentially, we need to evolve towards a world without vegans.
A world without vegans is a world where everyone is vegan automatically, so nobody needs any labels at all. A world without vegans is a world where everyone is vegan automatically, so nobody needs any labels at all.
Got it. So her name is Emily, Bite Size Vegan.
Hi, it's Emily from bitesizevegan.org, where you can find the article for this video with my sources and more information. But before we can speak to the solutions and signs of hope, we need to understand the fear that disclosing their veganism holds for many vegans. Research shows that negativity towards vegans is not only widespread, but also largely accepted and not seen as a societal problem, unlike other forms of bias.
So example, she has here written racism, sexism, and I would say added to that, I don't know if she has it in her list here, but homophobia, all of it. To me, I see that vegan phobia is a real thing. I've experienced it. I'm actually going to be writing a book about it. I've already started. And if any of you, by the way, have ever been victims of vegan phobia, let me know. Send me a DM in my Instagram, which is called thatveganteacher Miss KADIE. Tell me your experiences about people picking on you for being vegan.
Even outright hate, like other stigmatized groups, their experience is compounded by the fact that hating on vegans is generally acceptable, even...
Yeah, and I don't think that's right. And you can see just by looking at my channel in the comment section how much of it there is. It's very strange, isn't it? Because if we were defending Black people or the LGBTQ community, nobody would ever dare to attack us the way that they do. It's interesting because people have this gang mentality, unable to think for themselves, and that's why they do that. And they follow people who online bully us, and they just think it's a big joke. But hey, let's keep listening.
And socially encouraged. Documentary filmmaker Kelly Guerin's experience of coming out vegan was so jarring that she focused her honors thesis in anthropology on better understanding the source of the aggression she encountered. She said, I expected my friends and family would mock me as they had when I became vegetarian. What I did not expect was the hostility I faced and the almost daily confrontations in which I found myself forced to engage. I was called freak, naive, and was even told by one roommate, you should just do the world a favor and kill yourself.
I've been told that too.
Shockingly, an old friend who had recently turned vegan confided that he found it much harder emotionally to tell people he was vegan than it was to come out as a homosexual in a conservative middle school.
I've heard that often. That's why I talk about using the flag, and that's why I make the analogy there, that if you come out of the closet as a member of the LGBTQ, it's actually not as difficult as it is to come out as a vegan.
In my video and article, The Science of Why People Hate Vegans, I explore what research, including Guerin's thesis, has to say about what motivates these kinds of responses. I won't reiterate that entire video here, but one of the key takeaways is that when we take the time to understand the defenses behind such negativity towards vegans, we can see that they primarily arise from a place of personal distress, rather than intentional cruelty. At the same time, understanding the source of negativity or aggression doesn't always make being on the receiving end of it any less distressing, nor does it make that negativity acceptable. While it's helpful for us to lower our defenses in order to have more effective interactions with people, it's equally important that we validate how painful, isolating, infuriating, and challenging it can be to be openly vegan in this world.
Because, again, of something called veganphobia. Now, I mentioned this word, and I have been doing so over on TikTok and all my social media for several years. And I'm very curious as to whether Emily will mention it here. But that is actually what it is. It's not a fear of vegans so much. Maybe in the back of their minds, they're afraid that we're going to be taking away all of their meat, dairy, and eggs. But we don't think of it as theirs to begin with. Just like homophobia is not really a fear of the LGBTQ, it's just cruelty towards them.
In understanding all sides, we start to see the common threads of humanity that run throughout our Discord.
Discord.gg/vegan, it's the place to be if your heart is filled with empathy and you want to be on the right side of history.
As we've discussed, one of the most common reasons vegans self-silence is to avoid stigma and stereotypes. Essentially, vegans desire what most of us desire, to be judged for who we are rather than who people think we are. Studies show that the most prominent negative perception of vegans is that they're judgmental, self-righteous, and arrogant. Some people have had interactions with vegans where they felt judged or attacked, and let's be honest, they very well may have been. At the same time, research shows that even the gentlest message from a vegan is often received as aggressive, and even just the mention of a vegan can put people on guard.
That's true. It doesn't really matter how you talk to people about veganism. You could just mention it very lightly and quietly in a conversation, and people will still get their fists up and be ready to challenge you. Or you can just come very, very strongly and mention that you're vegan, and you can tell everybody, I'm better than you because I don't hurt animals, and not hurting animals is better than hurting them. And of course, they're also angry. But my experience is that it really doesn't make much of a difference how I approach people. Let me know in the comments if you find that it makes a difference. And if you are silent, how does it feel to you to be silent? Do you ever feel guilty for your silence? I know that when I'm silent, in social situations where I don't want to cause a conflict, I often feel guilty later, like I didn't say enough. But if I say something, then I also feel a bit bad because maybe I isolated certain people that I didn't really want to. Anyway, it's a really difficult line to walk.
People often anticipate being judged by vegans, which raises their defenses. And vegans anticipate being seen as judgmental, raising their defenses as well. Essentially, vegans can be prejudged as judgmental out of fear of being judged. If they have to disclose their veganism, vegans are put in the precarious position of trying to preemptively defend themselves from the assumption they're judgmental.
Like when what's her name? Billie Eilish, the singer, a few years back, she said, I'm not one of those vegans. And she was like so quick to make sure that people knew that she wasn't anything like me, I guess. But in recent years, she is coming out a little bit more, I find. And hopefully she will keep going. And in my view, she's not as forceful as she needs to be. She should be telling everyone in her audiences during every single concert, you guys need to be vegan. You need to care about the planet. You need to care about the animals. And she should do it in no uncertain terms and say, guys, if it was me, if I was Billie Eilish, that's what I would say. I would say, guys, when you leave here at the end of this concert that's about to happen, I want you to go home and I want you to be vegan from now on. And then I would offer some sort of a reward to those who became vegan, who made videos about it. Let's say vlogged about it for a year. I would maybe try to visit them, or I don't know, give them some sort of acknowledgement, something.
While not coming across as judgmental in their defense, vegans may soften their veganism to avoid conflict, being stereotyped, and or to make sure those around them don't feel judged. As one study participant put it, I have to defend myself and protect them at the same time, speaking to the dual burden of feeling responsible for making others feel comfortable around her, while at the same time protecting herself from verbal attacks. Many vegans feel they must also balance the tension between staying true to their beliefs and fitting in socially, emphasizing that they are proud of who they are and what they believe in. For some vegans, self-silencing is not so much about fitting in socially as it is the exhaustive demands of explaining themselves, which we'll explore soon in a dedicated and frankly cathartic section. Understandably, many vegans just avoid opening the door in the first place.
Are you vegan yet? What are you waiting for? Are you vegan yet? Open the vegan door. Are you vegan yet? What are you waiting for? Are you vegan yet? Open the vegan door.
Ironically, the self-silencing of vegans may actually reinforce some of the very stigmas and stereotypes they're trying to avoid. After all, no one can experience a vegan positively when they don't know that they're vegan in the first place. You may have had many delightful interactions with vegans and have absolutely no idea.
Excellent point. Really good, Emily.
This is why some vegans take the approach of letting people get to know them first before disclosing that they're vegan. But this isn't always possible, and for some of us, it's the people who know us best that have the most painful reactions. Another reason vegans self-silence is due to the fear of being rejected, mocked, or dismissed. For many vegans, this fear comes from real-life painful experiences. Rejection is something we humans take extreme measures to avoid. The pain of rejection is significantly magnified when it's in response to a core aspect of our identity or a firmly held core value. This adds an additional layer for vegans motivated by ethical concerns for other animals, the environment, human rights, and/or societal health. Mockery and dismissal of their veganism feels not only like a rejection of who they are, but also like mockery and dismissal of the very real suffering and exploitation of other animals and humans alike, and of pressing issues like the climate crisis. Perhaps the most devastating magnifier of rejection is when it comes from a central figure in our life, especially from within our family of origin. Nothing hits us quite like family does. Disclosing veganism is often unavoidable with family, and when that disclosure is met with negativity, it often leads vegans to be vigilant about not disclosing their veganism to other people, or even returning to eating animals.
And speciesism, and speciesism, and speciesism, be kind to the animals. And veganphobia, and veganphobia, and veganphobia, be kind to the activists. Dance if you're vegan, hands up if you're vegan. Think you can't do it? Try it, you can.
Now, I have many students who write to me. These are kids that are about 12 years old, teenagers, even older, who follow me on TikTok and over on Instagram, who tell me that they want to come out of the closet as vegans. They want to tell their families, but they are so afraid because they've heard their moms or dads say something negative about veganism. So it's very similar in the sense that if you are raised in a family of racists who say something mean about people because of the skin color, and then you want to, say you're a teenager and you want to date somebody who is a different colored skin than you, you might be afraid that your parents will say something stupid or just be downright cruel. So this is why I draw the parallels to this, and I say that vegan phobia is very similar to racism and homophobia.
Now that we've covered some of the complex pressures behind vegan self-silencing with the sincerity and compassion they deserve, let's take a moment to acknowledge a unifying thread running throughout them all. The fact that, frankly, being openly vegan is exhausting.
Absolutely exhausting. So true. We have to answer everybody's questions all the time. You almost feel like you need to have a university degree in everything, in ethics, in every single animal, in all their digestive tracts, where they live in the world, every vitamin, every mineral. You're expected to know how much protein is in every single food. It is exhausting. I tell my students, say to them, look, I'm just trying to do my best to do the least harm to animals. And all of the questions that you have can be found on the internet. You can find them. And that's a way of just speaking your truth, but also feeling like you don't have to shoulder all of the explanations to give to them.
This is a point that anyone can relate to on some level, vegan or not. One of the reasons people can be uncomfortable around vegans is that they feel they have to defend themselves. Well, for anyone openly vegan, this is a default expectation at all times, and it's just the tip of the iceberg. Imagine having to always be prepared to explain and defend every aspect of veganism, and also answer for every action of every vegan as if you are somehow responsible for whatever some vegan somewhere did.
Yeah, a lot of people tell me that. They say, because of things that you say, Miss Katie, I feel like I have to justify things that you're doing. And I'm saying to them, no, you don't. Just tell them that you are vegan your way and that you use your explanations. For example, when I tell people, I use this analogy and I use the LGBTQ flag. And I say to people that, first of all, they did change their flag. They have an upgraded version with a cutaway out of it with some black in it. And I say to people, look, they rejected that flag and so we took it. And I, as a bisexual woman, have had the rainbow flag anyway since I was 16 years old. And so for me, it's not that big of a deal. And I just say, well, you know what's great about the flag is that people often say doctors and dietitians eat a rainbow of foods. So what could be a more perfect flag than the rejected flag of the LGBTQ? And the flag also is an anti-oppression flag, so it's perfect. It's a rainbow, which demonstrates all the different colors that have to do with the earth, the planet, and it's also a symbol of anti-oppression. But when I talk about that, people get very angry and they say, how could you be so crazy as to do that? But my thinking is that I also want to remind people who talk about being oppressed that often they are also the oppressors, and they should think about that. If they're holding the flag up during Pride Day and they're sort of saying to everybody, I'm proud to be who I am, well, are they proud? Talking about being against oppression while they have corpses inside of them? It's something to think about. I think all members of the LGBTQ should be striving to be vegan. But then I think that about everybody with every skin color, every age, every religion. Everybody can strive to be as vegan as possible.
And also, have data and statistics for every potential question. And also, make sure your responses don't come across as judgmental or combative, even if you were approached with aggression, and even if you're being actively judged and preached to while being accused of being judgmental and preachy. And also, make sure that your responses are suited to the exact individual and situation you're in, and also preserve the...
Yeah, that's another thing. Sometimes in my comment sections, I write a comment and I just copy and paste it over and over because there's just one of me and there's thousands of comments. And then somebody will say something like, oh, she's just copying and pasting the answers or some comment. And it's like, yeah, because otherwise I would be there 24 hours a day responding to all of the comments and not being able to create any new videos.
Relationship, if with a friend, family member, work colleague, or boss. And also, try not to bring any emotional intensity from your previous experiences of being rejected, mocked, and so.
That's right. That's another thing that I do in my videos. I mean, I'm a normal human person, so sometimes I feel rage and anger at how much violence there is. And you guys can understand that when you're looking at what's going on in the war right now. Many people around the world are enraged, whatever side they're on, whether they're supporting the Israelis or the Palestinians. It's a very heated topic. And when I see violence going on around the world towards innocent animals and people eating corpses in front of me, sometimes I get enraged. And other times I feel deeply sad and I cry. But no matter what kind of emotion you have, you're always told you should not be emotional. You should just talk about it. Just sit there quietly and talk about it. But when you do that, you also do not get any attention to the matter at hand. So you have to try, look at Emily's channel, for example. How many people have seen this video? 13,000. But I can guarantee you that the vast, vast majority of the people watching this are vegans. Vegans tend to live in an echo chamber and support each other. But who needs to see this video are the people who follow me, people who hate vegans, people who enjoy being vegan phobic. So this is why I'm going around and presenting other people's views to try to get people to follow her channel. So please do. Okay, her channel's called bitesizevegan.org. And in the comment section, tell her that you subscribed because that vegan teacher sent you.
insulted and disparaged for being vegan, and also make sure not to reflect badly on all other vegans and veganism itself, and also try not to betray your own convictions, the animals, the planet, and all of society, and also do all of this with the knowledge that by answering questions posed to you, you may be accused of talking about veganism all
Yes, you will. Yes, you will. And in fact, no matter how I talk about veganism on my channel, I am consistently told you're not doing it right. Whether you're laughing too much, it's not right. Talking too much about food, that means you're not talking enough about the animals. If you are attacking these stars because you want to get their millions of followers to be vegan, you are accused of being an attention whore.
I don't understand people. I don't understand the entitlement of people.
And the truth is, yeah, you're trying to get attention, but it's because you want people to watch the documentaries. You want that to be there. If you could just put a sign on your screen, on your YouTube every day without even appearing there, that would be perfect. But nobody would come, right? So we're just trying our best.
the time. Being openly vegan can feel like having to be a sociologist, psychologist, and walking encyclopedia with expert skills in emotional and social negotiation and infinite patience and compassion. Honestly, sometimes you just want to be a person around other people. But before we get to that note of hope, let's look at how vegan self-silencing and its causes actually harm all of us.
And before we go any further, make sure you press the like button on this video and make sure that you follow and press the notification bell as well. And then, of course, on Emily's videos as well.
The need for a societal evolution away from eating animals is becoming more and more evident for the well-being of our planet, our communities, and of course, the animals themselves. At the same time, we humans are social animals, and we often look to what most other people are doing to aid in our decision-making. And most people are still eating animals. Researchers behind the delightfully named study, How Do You Know Someone's Vegan? They Won't Always Tell You, propose that vegan self-silencing could reinforce this perception that not eating animals is some niche phenomenon, only adopted by a few people on the fringe of society. While it may seem like a small matter for individual vegans to stay silent about their veganism, the study authors reference how seemingly trivial differences in the number of people that hold a certain personal preference within smaller groups can, in the long run, result in macro-level consequences for entire societies. From this viewpoint, the tendency to self-silence among vegans may prevent the onset of momentum and critical mass that is needed to achieve a societal tipping point.
Being vegan doesn't mean that you just do your best not to eat, wear, or use animals. Being vegan also means you bravely speak out to defend them.
Simply asking vegans to be more vocal about their veganism places them in the catch-22 of eliciting the very stigma we've covered. The problem isn't so much vegan self-silencing, but rather the reasons driving that silence. As we've learned in this video, going against social norms can have social consequences. Research shows that the fear of receiving the same treatment as vegans prevents other people from taking steps to move away from eating animals.
Sadly, we know veganphobia exists and that it was never on any vegan's Christmas list. And veganphobia can hurt some days, but don't be like the zombies around you in a cowardly daze. You've been brave enough to learn, you've seen the light. You know the future can be bright. You know you're on the right side of history. You're kind and you're ending so much misery. So continue to be strong. When you're sad, just listen to this song and stay vegan anyway. Stay vegan anyway. Listen clearly to what I say. Stay vegan anyway.
I completely believe that. I mean, it's science-based, but I also have evidence of it in my own comment section. You will see that there are not that many vegans who are there because they are afraid of the backlash, and that's really unfortunate. How do we get vegans to be out, to get out of their bubble, out of their echo chamber, and to be seen by the general public?
Steps they'd be open to exploring were it not for the potential social backlash. This may seem like an impossible gridlock of necessary yet understandably resisted change, but there is evidence things may be shifting. Researchers, advocates, political leaders, and organizations are becoming aware of the importance of institutional support for a societal evolution away from farming animals. A shift in our collective relationship with eating animals has to involve more than us as individuals, and there are organizations working at a systemic level in an effort that none of us have to shoulder this alone. For example, some universities, hospitals, schools, governmental bodies, businesses, and even fast food chains serve plant-based food as their default, with the option to opt in to animal-based food.
That's the way it should be. In fact, the perfect solution would be that all schools are vegan and all hospitals are vegan, and that they shouldn't even be allowed to serve any animals in these places. That's the future anyway that we're hoping for.
A significant decrease in animal food consumption and changing attitudes about plant-based foods. They found that when not eating animals is the norm rather than the deviation, people, including meat eaters, are more likely to enjoy eating plant-based meals.
Yeah, because they're prejudicial. They're prejudiced when they see that something is vegan. They're like, oh, it's probably going to taste bad and I'm not going to order it. I've seen it many times in stores. I say to them, do you have any vegan croissants or vegan donuts? They're like, yeah, these are. I said, why don't you write a sign? Why don't you put a sign out that says that they're vegan? And they say, well, because people might not buy them. They're going to assume that they don't taste good. But if they don't know that there's no eggs in them and they don't know that there's no dairy in them, they are perfectly happy to eat them and they love them. So that's something for you guys to think about too. Try vegan foods. You will see when it comes to donuts and ice cream and cakes, you can't even tell.
I'm always in the mood to save animals and eat delicious vegan food. I'm always in the mood to save animals and eat delicious vegan food.
In essence, rather than moving towards a world where everyone is vegan, we need to move towards a world without vegans at all, where not eating animals is simply our default, where we can all collectively act on our shared values without fear of going it alone. On an individual level, the less we stigmatize and stereotype vegans or anyone's effort to move away from eating animals, the more welcome people will feel to be open about their choices. And the more we see other people acting on the things that we also care about, the more welcome we can feel to make our own changes.
So yeah, she's saying make sure you comment. So go ahead and subscribe to her channel, please. And coming up on my channel here right now will be a bunch of other videos. Please click on them, be curious, and help us get the animals out of hell by pressing the notification bell after you subscribed. Ready for your hug? Here it comes. Of course, it's only if you agree and you want it. The rest of you can all leave. But anybody who needs a hug, I'm here to give hugs. And I'm told I give pretty good hugs. You ready? Now, obviously, I can't hug you in real life, so you're going to have to just do it to yourself, right? Now, the reason you're getting a hug is because I know it's not easy out there. Come on, nice hug. Put your hands around yourself. Nice squeeze. Not too hard. Not too wimpy either, okay? Got it? Yeah. You guys are doing great. Just being here shows that you're open-minded. I'm very proud of you. So I will see you guys all in the next video. Bye for now.
Let's follow that vegan teacher on YouTube right now. Let's